Hey, gang, welcome to StockPickProfits Daily Market Update. It is January 24th, 2019. Uh, Interesting market day today, but let's get started with the legalities here. Past performance is no indicator of future performance. We're not registered investment advisors. Nothing in this show should be taken for as an offer to buy or sell any security. Uh, Always consult a professional before making investment decisions. Let's get right into it. Excuse me. Let me grab my notes here. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. We got the fan going on, so we lost our notes there to the fan. Hey, look, it was an interesting market day today, right? We cashed out our snap for about 55% in 2 days. That was a little momentum trade there. When snap started going under that $6 level in the beginning of the week, we took a look at it, right? And we got some $6 calls that expire tomorrow. Snap, had a pretty good afternoon. It's down a little bit in after hours, but look, when you're looking at 55% in just 2 days, why take any chances? They expire tomorrow. Cash them in today. Maybe we get a little pop tomorrow, but we don't look back, right? Nobody ever lost money taking a profit. We'll take a sip of coffee to that one. So let's kind of take a look at the market news because it's an interesting day. Futures are pretty green overnight. And then, of course, we got up to get ready for the old market today. And Wilbur Ross had to open his mouth. So, and of course, the Commerce Secretary of the United States of America, you expect them to be on your team, right? And it seems like he wasn't on the markets team there. As he said that we're far, far away from a potential deal with China. That was an interesting statement to make, right? It seems like every time Giuliani or Ross or any of these guys gets on the TV, it's a disaster. Really, what they should do is what we've been suggesting for about the last 2 months, and that's just keep your mouth shut and do your job. The government shutdown is still continuing as they go back and forth. So it looks like there's not going to be a State of the Union speech unless the government's back to work anytime soon. And doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon. So we got a little breaking news there. The White House demands a large down payment on the wall as Schumer and McConnell try to cut a deal. So there's still a lot of back and forth going on this. It doesn't look like there's any resolution. What's her name? The one that was the head of the Democratic committee. What was it? Oh, Donna Brazile. She was on TV today, and she was telling Fox that there's Pelosi's about to make a counteroffer. Again, both sides. Here we go. We're leaking information. We're talking about things we don't know if they're true, right? If it's true, why don't you just put the deal on the table? But I heard and all this stuff. Here we go again, right? With the leaks and the innuendo and stuff like that. Both sides just need to stop that, okay? Let's just get down to business and let's just get the government open. Let's get everything right, and let's start moving forward as a country, okay? We're in this nice expansion right here, and the only people that are screwing it up, it seems, are our politicians, right? So good job on the top there. Let's talk about the stock market, right? Because we don't get into politics here. We only care how it affects the market. The rest is for all the the crazies on Twitter to debate. But the Dow closed down about 22 points today. It's holding that 24,000 point level. Really nice. The S&P still off that 2,700, but it's firmed up above 2,600. It was up about 3 points today. Not much, about 0.14%. The Nasdaq still trudging towards that 7,100 level, is up about 50 points today. And the Russell 2K, the small caps came and participated today. They were up about $10, almost a whole percent. The big story is what we keep talking to you guys about. Now, despite what's happening with the market, it looks like we're just going into a little consolidation here because we're not getting the indicators to back up a sell-off. Excuse me. I'm gonna get a little coffee in me to clear my throat. And so, the VIX, now we've been talking about it, right? We had that little spike yesterday where it went back over 20, but we still knew, we used our technical analysis, right, everybody? And we looked at our trend and we knew it was just a temporary blip, right? And look at today, the VIX now, we've lost 19. Remember when we hit that 37 point on Christmas Eve, we told you that's the capitulation. And we expect the VIX to trickle down back down to about that 13 point level over the coming weeks, and it has been doing that. It just took another new level at below 19. So that's all systems go there. And Starbucks had some good earnings this morning. People are still drinking coffee. Other than that, there just wasn't a whole lot of news cycle again. The big news was PG&E, right? PG&E up 75% after that hellacious sell-off for the wildfires. California investigators absolved them of any liability. So there you go. That was an opportunity, but that'd be a risky trade, right? I mean, we were looking at some really bad potential destruction with PG&E entering that trade. So if you're in that trade and you made that trade, good job. You got a little bit more cojones than we do. Other than that, chip stocks had a big day. The stocks today. Let me pull up a quote here so I can talk to you intelligently about that. So the stocks today had a really, really good day, right? We're up almost 10 points on the stocks, almost 6%. We've been kind of basing around that $50 level, 150 level for a little while there, right? And it actually got even lower than that in the sell down, right? That Christmas Eve, it got as low as 148. And now we're back up to about 170. So there you go. Everybody and their brother, right? On CNBC and everything else, every analyst was telling you run from chip stocks. Well, if you had bought at that moment, guess what? You'd be up big time right now. So again, take what you hear on TV from CNBC and all these experts with a grain of salt, especially Jamie Dimon and them who are on TV a little bit too much. And we were talking about that. We've been talking about that about 2 weeks ago, where we're saying, look, if you're looking for a trade, you're looking for someplace to put a little money, guess what? Take a look at the chip stocks. They were beaten down so bad, right? Some of the big names were just really getting hammered, and it looks like they're back. So we'll see how it goes. Chips are a seasonal thing. And we know that there's a certain time of the year when the sales get very brisk. We also know there's a certain time of year when the sales dry up. Well, guess what? It coincided with this whole rally. So we're not going to give you the exact answer on that. You guys go research it a little bit. What do we always say? Do your own DD. Don't take our word for it. Go pull up a chart and make sure. Like I said, we cashed out that Snap trade for 56% today. We just opened that a couple of days ago. That was a nice little trade. It was a fun little trade. Snap's always a fun trade. It's a fun stock, right? It's so exciting and stuff like that. And if you follow it like on StockTwits and stuff, you'll see people get really emotional over Snap. You know what I mean? It's almost caused digital fist fights. Don't get that involved in your StockTwits, okay, guys? Let's kind of take a look one more time at the market after hours. Not a whole lot coming through the pipeline. Intel missed. It's got weak guidance and it missed. So there you go. What were we just telling you about? Chip stocks. Well, let's take a look at the stocks after hours. What's Intel? Chip stock. And you can see, yeah, after hours, the SOX is down about 1.25%. So hopefully, if you played that play, you took your money. It's like our president and my good friend and partner Samuel Levitz always says, no one ever lost money taking a profit, right? And when you do take a profit, don't trade looking through the rear view mirror. What does that mean? Well, if I took my profit on Snap today and I got 56% in 3 days, I'm pretty happy, right? I'm stoked, right? But if I wake up tomorrow and Snap's up another 25 cents and I could have took 120%, well, guess what? Should I trade in the rear view mirror? Hell no. I got 56% in my pocket and I've got money and I'm looking for a better trade. So again, always look forward. And when you take a profit, be proud. All you members that are tuning into the show that took profits today, congratulations. We're still in that Home Depot trade and we're still in the GE trade. We really like the Home Depot trade. It seems to be just building a base here right now. It was up about 40 cents today. It's been such a battle for the stock during the day. If you watch it during the day, it has these tremendous battles. Yesterday, it got down about $2.50, almost $3. and it fought back. It closed down about 20 cents. Today it was pretty much the same thing. It had that big crater right around lunch, right after lunch, and it just popped right back and it took that level back. It's trading nice and strong over 177 right now, and we're getting close to our strike. So we're real happy with that. We still got about a month on those contracts too. So all systems go. So how about that stock market? What's going to go on with this stock market? It's interesting right now. It's kind of a really strange situation with the stock market right now. Think about it. You get a little good earnings news, right? And then Wilbur Ross comes out and craps on the market, right? And just, one good news pops it up, then a little bit of bad news pops it back down. And we're just going through this cycling right now. We just came off this V bottom from the Christmas Eve capitulation, right? And it's been an interesting ride the last week. So, you guys traders out there, you guys be very careful in this market. And you make sure that you're not getting too crazy and stuff. Yeah. And I'll explain that to you later, Samuel. But just like PG&E, like I was telling you guys from the office a couple of days ago, you were saying maybe shorten PG&E. Be careful. What happens is if you've got it priced in already, the only thing that can happen is it recovered, like on the PG&E, and that's why I said we'll look at it later. We want to see how the resolution goes, right? All we had to do is get those investigators to say they weren't liable, and guess what? 75% in one session. Boom. Beautiful, huh? So, look, I want to kind of get into that, like with the Huffington Post news and stuff like that. I want you guys to remember something now. Be careful when you get into this fake news and stuff. It's fun and it's true to a certain extent. I'm not going to deny that. We learned that with these Covington kids, right? The way the video is spliced and the whole media thing against it. We just know that there's a lot of fake news out there. We know BuzzFeed. Oh, geez. We know BuzzFeed already is a train wreck. Okay. I'll give you a good example. And this is for you, Greg, because I know you're sitting there with Samuel if Samuel's on. And for all of you viewers, remember something about BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed's a big publication, not a big publication like the New York Times, but as far as social media and stuff like that, everybody knows who BuzzFeed is. They're a very liberal publication. They're an anti-Trump publication. Everybody knows that. They're very biased. Everybody knows that about BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed knows that about BuzzFeed. They did that report where they were proven wrong, and they still stood by the report, and it's just incredible. But if you guys ever get a chance to go look at Twitter now, like when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweets, she'll get like maybe about 50,000 retweets. Boom, religiously. I mean, she tweets, "I'm wearing red shoes today," and she gets 40,000 retweets. BuzzFeed, which is a news publication, try watching them. They might get, if they're lucky, if they get 1,000 retweets. So really, like you have to kind of look at that a little bit deeper, because what that's telling you is, yeah, it gets a lot of play, but it gets a lot of play because one, it's the village idiots, so it's fun to beat up, and you know what I mean, and it's you almost always can count on them being you know what they're thinking, you know what their agenda is. But when you're looking for a trade and stuff, now look at Verizon Media. Let me pull up V here, and let's take a look. I like to do this with you guys on in the live show, because it's a lot of fun, and it's good chance for you guys to learn about how to quickly disseminate and stuff. Verizon's trading about 57.07 right now. Today it was down maybe about 1%. Now, how much of BuzzFeed influences their budget? Now, and that's what I want you guys to ask yourself. And I wanted to teach you that, Greg, because you got a great eye for finding ideas. So let's take it another level. And for you viewers out there, follow along. So what you do is you got to take a look at BuzzFeed. How important is BuzzFeed to Verizon Communications? So you can kind of go ahead and you can research a little bit. It's not much. It's a bloodlet. It's actually, you know what? That's 7%. And I've taught you this before, Greg. Remember what I taught you about? Everybody panics. Everybody freaks out when a company lays off workers, but actually it's good for the stock. It usually makes the stock go up because why? They're making their balance sheet more efficient. And if they're cutting off that 7%, it's probably dead weight anyways, and it's a better boat without it, right? So it's kind of so many things that kind of play in this. And that's why that's a fantastic question. Your other viewers out there, you must have questions like Samuel and Greg. So come on and pop them out there. We'll be glad to address them. And that's interesting, though. But the whole fake news, right, Samuel? The whole fake news, it's just come to this incredible point where, Samuel, you and Greg know, in the trade room, we don't even watch TV anymore. We do not watch TV anymore. Very rarely. We like the YouTube. Samuel knows how I feel about YouTube. But we love YouTube. It's almost actually better programming. And, Hulu just lowered their price, and we love Hulu. Samuel knows the trade room loves Hulu. We have very weird tastes when it comes to TV shows. And the reason is this, and I want to share this with you too, because you viewers out there, this might be something you can use in your life. Something you'll find with the trade team is they when they watch TV, they watch a lot of mindless crap. American Dad, Family Guy, stuff like that, right? Every now and then we'll get a little more intelligent. We'll watch like a Law and Order or something. But for the most part, it's those stupid cartoons. When you see us on the phone, you'll see us playing app games and stuff. You know what that is? I've taught these guys. It's mental clearing. It really is. And we've found it to be true many, many times. A lot of times you're just busting your brain on a problem. You're so focused on it and stuff, and you just can't come up with a solution. Have you ever noticed sometimes like you go have a cup of coffee or you go talk to somebody, and all of a sudden that answer will just pop itself in your head? It's called clearing your brain. And I told you guys this about before, is like when Bill Gates and Paul Allen built Windows, they built it so it was compartmentalized just like your brain. They wanted the computer to think like you do. And that was a genius, right? Well, Microsoft was the result. So you absolutely genius. But they did that because they understand. And I remember I mentioned this guy to you guys before, defragmenting. Remember the old Windows system? You had to defragment every now and then. That's because it's just like your brain. It's little boxes in here with ideas, right? Bah, 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 bah. Now, what happens is sometimes I think an idea like, ooh, I'd like to paint this wall red. Well, sometimes if there's only available space scattered around, it'll take that idea and it'll put different parts in different compartments. Guess what? When you rethink the idea, well, your brain has to go and grab them, right? Put them back together, and then it comes out here, right? Well, guess what? They built the computer to do the same thing, right? 32 meg, 64 meg, 128 meg. Don't want to get give me a second here, Samuel, and I'll get right to that. But yeah, let me just finish this real quick. So what you do is you defragment, and the way you defragment, and this is a proven technique, and it works for us, and it's worked for me for a long time. Go do something mindless that takes action but no thought, okay, and no emotion, and you'll find that your brain will defragment. Let me get to that client. Had a client ask me recently what VR and AI stocks we have on our watch list, and can you address that for our viewers? Google. We like one stock for AI, and we like that stock a lot. And we say, look, they have the capital to produce. They have probably the best techs. Everybody knows the best techs, the best engineers work for Google. So Google, keep it simple and go right to the source. Google is working on AI. Look, everybody can debate AI all they want, but think about it. Google was the first one to use AI. Think about it. All those search engines it came out of nowhere. What was so fantastic about Google? Well, it was one white page with one search box and just Google. But when you searched it, it was the most incredibly efficient search there was. How does it do that? It uses AI. There's your beginnings of AI. And Google has its finger in a lot of stuff. I'll tell you what, we'll talk about AI and stuff going forward, okay? Because there are some small companies, and I'll get into them. I don't want to just reveal all the small ones right now because we might be ready to make a play on it and stuff. But I'm going to tell you guys straight up, if you want simple advice that's very effective, just go with the big dog. Go with Google. Like I said, they've got all this money that they can put into R&D. They've got all this data already, right? What's the big complaint about Google? It's got everybody's freaking data. It knows how you act, why you act that way, what you wanted when you acted that way. It knows more about you than you. And so that data is what makes what? AI, right? There's robotics attached to it. When you want to put artificial intelligence in something that actually does something like a robot or even a machine on an assembly line, right? Then you need some robotics in it. But for the most part, it all lives and dies with that algorithm, right? And who makes the best algorithms? Google. Yeah, that's a pretty simple answer. But we'll kind of get into that a little bit going forward. Okay. Like I said, we actually have a couple little companies that we keep on the hot list. We're looking for a little bit of chart action on them before we get into them. So I don't want to let the cat out of the bag before our members do. Okay. And speaking of that, look, if you want to be one of those that gets that information before the public does, I believe Samuel or somebody from the office will pop that link in there. Click it. See what the program's about. We just had a big live show in Honolulu last night. It was an incredible good time. Incredible good time. We had some of our members there. It was just really, really a good time. MEMS we'll put on the watch list, and we'll talk about that tomorrow, okay? Because we're running a little bit long here. So Jeff, welcome back. Jeff is one of our viewers from Facebook, and he migrated over. Took him about a week to get over here, but he's here. Like he said, hey, I finally got here. We're glad to have you, Jeff. Samuel, thank you for joining us today, Samuel, and the great questions. Give Greg a high five. As usual, great questions. So MEMS is in that VR AI list. Now, here's for VR. Now, remember, virtual reality is it's a little bit more advanced than a lot of these newer techs, right? Virtual reality is something that's been on the dry board or the whiteboard with a lot of these tech companies for a long time. You see it with Microsoft, right? With Oculus, with their VR. Well, now that you're subscribed, Jeff, you'll be fine. It should alert you, okay, brother? So we expect your attendance and punctuality. But you go with Microsoft. They've got a VR product that they're actually marketing to the public. I believe Google had one, or let's go back to the original. Anybody here can guess what the original was, right? Remember the Google glasses? Isn't that virtual reality, right? Into a sense. Look, the game companies are into VR right now in VR development. So you want to take a look at who in your big game companies can afford the R&D, who's got the best tech, who's got the guys that can actually pull this off. Well, you want to look at companies like Activision, right? Activision is a great little software company. I believe they make Call of Duty and stuff like that, but you go to those sources. So we'll kind of get a little list together, and like I said, we've got a couple that are on our hot list that we don't want to get too much into until we go over it with the members. But there's no question about it. Down the line, there's going to be some opportunity in the virtual reality and the artificial intelligence. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on it, but we're not ready to play that yet. We're playing stocks that are making us money right now. So like I said, we cashed out that snap trade we opened up on Monday. We cashed that out for about 56% today. Just a couple days, nice easy peasy win. You cap that on the other wins that we had. List is getting so long I can't even remember. Citigroup, Monster, all triple digit wins. And so if you guys aren't getting that kind of advice, if you aren't getting that kind of support, today in the room, we went over the Fibonacci retrace again. We did some great chart lessons, and we had a lot of fun with it. Again, if you're not getting that support, if you're one of those people that paid $25,000 to learn how to chart and stuff like that, you can come join the group. You can learn it real time, and at the same time you're learning charting. Guess what? You're using that charting to make you some money. Isn't that fun? But anyways, look, it was an interesting day today. The back and forth is going between Trump and Pelosi and whatever's going on with the Dems and the Republicans. The government shutdown has run a little bit long right now, But I think people are getting to the breaking point. I think Pelosi's side is, and so is Trump's side. He agreed that you're not going to do the State of the Union address. The only people that lose in that are the American people, right? If you're a Trump hater, please stop. There's some of us that, regardless of who the president of the United States is, we do want to hear from him. Okay. So there he is, Fib guy, Fib man Kona. So keep your personal politics out of this. All we want to do is know how it's going to affect the market. Save your personal politics if you want to waste half your life on Twitter. That's the place to do that. That's the other thing. Let's take a good look at Twitter, right? Twitter's coming under fire a little bit. They're back on this anti-conservative bias, and they're also getting back a little bit of heat on allowing hateful posts and threatening posts from certain people that have certain agendas, but they're banning people that make the same kind of comments and stuff that have opposite agendas. I'm not going to say who it is. You know who it is. So let's kind of call it a day, right? But those are some ideas, right? You know, Samuel just had some great ideas, artificial intelligence and virtual reality. Twitter, let's keep an eye on Twitter. That was another reason why we had that 55, 60%, 55%. We went ahead and tapped out that Snap day trade. Well, we caught a little quick swing trade. It was 3 days for about 55%. But that's why we tapped it out today too. We think there's something about to happen with Twitter and Facebook down the line, and we'll get more into that too. Again, after we fill in our membership, okay? So look, gang, thank you for joining me. It was an interesting market day. It was a mixed market, right? The Dow ended up red. Everything was across the board green. Besides that, Home Depot had a nice day. That's the only trade we're still in, besides the GE trade that a little bit longer time frame on that. So we give it room. GE actually had a good day today, right? I think it was up about 30, 40 cents, which is a nice little run for an $8 stock. We're expecting a breakout from that. But again, trade very cautiously right now and trust your technical analysis. And the reason is it's easy to fall into that FOMO trade. It's easy to see this V bottom and this big run and say, look, I can't miss this boat, and throw your money at it. And your timing's wrong. And guess what happens? You lose all your money. Stay ahead of the trade. We've been telling you of that since December 24th. Stay ahead of the trade. That market reset, it gave all us traders a chance to get ahead of the trade, and we've stayed ahead of the trade. You can see all of our closed trades that we have opened since that market sell down has happened have been winners, and all but the Snap trade's a little disappointment today for our members because it only got 55%. Everything besides that before this has been triple digit gains. So look, let's go rock this market. But again, stay cautious. We're kind of trading in that mid-level on all three markets, right? The Dow's trading at about 24.5. So it's in between that 24,000 and 25,000. Those nice round numbers make a difference to traders. You'll find that to be true. This S&P is at 2642, which is right there in that middle of the range too, just like the Dow Jones, between 2,600 and 2,700. So it can go either way at this point. We're at an inflection point. And then after hours, we just had a big miss from Intel. How's that going to hit the market tomorrow? Tomorrow we have some earnings report, but it's Friday, so we just have a few, and it's probably nobody important. Next week, we get into the really fun stuff. And what's that? The tech earnings. We can't wait. We can't wait. So tomorrow, our plan tomorrow is to kind of see how things go with the market. We'll keep an eye on this Home Depot trade we're in and the GE trade we're in. But other than that, any new trades will be placed cautiously. And they will be done based on technical analysis, not hunches. Okay, so let's call it a day, gang. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a great show. It was a great market day. You know, it was nice to see a little bit of fight back from the market. We've talked about that too. We want to see the market, you know, every time it gets those red numbers, we want to see those bulls step in and retake the control. So look, guys, you have a great afternoon. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow, Friday. We'll talk a little bit more about some detailed virtual reality and AI stocks, artificial intelligence. We'll get a little bit more into the stocks, into the chip stocks, because that's interesting, right? We finally get that bounce in the chip stocks, and what happens? Intel comes around and peed on the party. So there you go. And that's what we're talking about. See, we're getting that strange news cycle, right? We get great earnings in the morning from some Dow components yesterday, right? A little bit later in the day, we get some bad words from somebody, and it just drills the market down. It seems like every time we get a footing up, another foot comes to put it back on the throat. And the other way, too. Every time we get a little bad news, we're getting good news that pushes it back up. Well, what happens is you just get in this channel, and it just get really frustrating if you're an impatient trader. And I'm going to close this with the famous words of Warren Buffett and Samuel Levitz, right? What is it? That's right. The stock market is a vehicle for transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. So, we were patient through that sell down and we waited for the capitulation. It's been very profitable since then, but we're not going to get antsy and we're not going to get impatient at this point. We're going to pick our points right, and we're not going to be buying at highs and we're not going to be selling at lows. Okay. And that's not the way to do it. It's the other way. So you guys trade safe out there. It's Friday tomorrow. Not much on the witching. Monthlies were last week. So maybe we got some weeklies up expiring tomorrow. So I don't know how the volatility is going to be. It's probably going to be based on the news cycle and stuff like that. And I'm sure Intel is going to weigh on the market, especially the Dow Industrials, not industrials, but the Dow components, because Intel's a big one on that. Okay. So that's interesting, right? Over all this bull market, right? Think about it. And I'll close with this. Think about it. Over this long, long bull market, what, 9, 10, 11 years? What's been happening? Intel has just been having stellar earnings report, right? And IBM was the opposite, right? It's been having terrible 19 straight quarters they missed on revenue. And then they finally broke that streak the last couple of earnings reports. Well, think about it. People are talking about us coming to the end of the cycle on the bull market, right? Is it true? Is it not? It doesn't matter. We'll play it either way. But what we're more concerned with is, look at IBM did really well and Intel missed. That's very unusual. Maybe it's not so much the end of the bull market. Maybe it's a changing of the guards. Maybe the leadership stocks are changing position. You ever think about that? I'm going to close with that because that's good food for thought. So we'll see you guys on tomorrow. Oh, geez, one more day in the week. Let's try to get through this. It's been a great month so far. You guys should be having a great month, all you viewers out there. And if you're not, like I said, click that link in the description, okay? We'll see you guys tomorrow. You have a safe afternoon, and we'll be back tomorrow with some AI, virtual reality, and whatever else is going on in the market, okay? Stay off the Twitter and go enjoy life, all right? Life's worth living, right? So thank you very much. We'll see you guys tomorrow after the market.